Yo, Kasuri here. We are back with another Should You Pull video. Today we're going to be talking about Recoleta. We'll briefly go over her kit, talk about some of the pros and cons, and then I'm going to give her a pull value rating, and at the end I will talk about who I think should or should not pull for her. And as always, we got to get out the disclaimer that you should always pull for who you like, regardless if they are meta or not, because it will make the game more enjoyable. Basically, to summarize how her kit works in just a few sentences, Recoleta is an ultimate focused DPS who can stack her ultimate multiplier to an insane multiplier of up to 2,400% single target damage to the main target and a 950% AoE damage to all the other targets. This is possible even at P0, but it is not that practical to always achieve max stacks for her ultimate, because if you are playing her normally, you probably aren't going to be holding on to Recoleta's ult that long just for an extra bit of stacks and an extra bit of damage. Okay, now that you know Recoleta's insane stacking multiplier, let's jump into the details of her kit, starting with explaining the stacks that boost her damage. There's two different stacks, one that boosts single target damage and the other boosts the AoE damage. Now there's also two ways for her to gain stacks. Alright, let's go ahead and start with her skill 2 actually, Literary Imagery. This is a mass attack, but if it only hits one enemy, you will gain 5 stacks of Monomythic Narrative, which is basically the stacks that boost the single target damage in her ultimate. And next, you probably guessed it, if this attack hits multiple targets, you will get the other stacking type, which will boost the AoE damage of her ultimate. So far, very straightforward. The last way for Recoleta to gain these stacks is when your teammate ulties. When a teammate ults, Recoleta will gain 1 Moxie, and also, depending if your teammate's ultimate is single target or AoE, Recoleta will gain the corresponding stack that boosts that specific type of damage. So if you look at the very top footage over here, Melania's ult is a single target damage, giving Recoleta 5 stacks of the Monomythic Narrative, which again is the stack that boosts the single target damage of Recoleta's ulti. And now if you look at the very bottom, Shemaine's ulti is AoE, so it will give Recoleta the other type of stacks that will boost her ultimate AoE damage. And then one last thing to note, Recoleta gains stacks based on how much Moxie the teammate used to ulti. So here Melania and Shemaine both consumed 5 Moxie to ulti, so it gave 5 stacks of the corresponding type of ultimate boost to Recoleta. Another thing to note is these stacks can stack up to 20 times, which if done will allow her to hit that huge multiplier of 2,400% single target damage to the main target and then 950% AoE damage. So now that you've stacked everything and unleashed her ultimate for the massive damage, there are a few other mechanics that I will quickly go over. Recoleta can hold up to 10 Moxie, and for each additional Moxie she consumes over 5 when she ulties, she will redistribute the extra Moxie after ulting to her teammates, as you can see here. Another thing to note is that when you ulti with Recoleta, she gains extra ultimate might for each Moxie consumed. And there's another condition, if you ulti when she has 10 Moxie, she will double all ultimate might bonuses. This is very important because this not only affects her ultimate, which includes the ultimate might bonuses, but it also includes the ultimate might bonuses from Melania, from her signature psyche, from her resonance. All of this will be doubled, which will really push Recoleta's ult damage way over the top. Another thing to note is Recoleta also gets a special incantation that does not cost AP to use. It's called Preparation, and when used, it will automatically trigger the ultimate of the ally with the highest Moxie, and then will recover all the Moxie for them after. Recoleta gets this special incantation at the start of the battle, and then again whenever she uses her ult, and the ult consumes at least 10 stacks of either the single target or AoE stacks. And lastly, her other skill, it's a 1 target attack that inflicts 2 stacks of Passion Drain, which is a debuff that goes on the enemy, and when your allies attack the enemy, they will gain an extra +1 Moxie. Pretty simple, but this will overall help Recoleta and her teammates get to their ultis faster. And that's it. Hopefully I've made her kit very easy to understand, because honestly it is very straightforward. Now let's go ahead and talk about the pros and cons of Recoleta. Let's start with the pros. Recoleta does insane amounts of damage, both single target and AoE, skyrocketing her to be one of, if not the best DPSs in the game as of 2.6. She's also very easy to play, which is something I feel people don't talk about that much. As I'm making this video, Maldir is not out in CN right now, but it is looking like Maldir will further boost Recoleta's potential, which is a pro because we know Recoleta is amazing now in 2.6 and will be even better in 2.8 with Maldir. There isn't also a ultimate base sustain yet, so there's even more potential that lies ahead for Recoleta. Basically, Recoleta's ceiling is continuing to get higher and it's not been reached just yet. Moving on to the cons, Recoleta really needs Euphoria Melania, or else she's going to feel really lackluster without her. Even just calculating the ultimate might bonus, Recoleta without Melania deals 40% less damage, not even factoring in the additional crit rate and crit damage that Melania does provide to Recoleta. So Recoleta without Melania could very well be 50% worse than with Melania, which is kind of crazy. This means you will probably have to pull for Melania or wait until the next patch 2.7 to pick Melania from the free selector, just so you can see Recoleta's full potential. Another small con to watch out for is those fights where enemies can cast spells that can block you from gaining Moxie or even ulting, because that's pretty much where all the damage is coming from for Recoleta. Alright, so with that, I have come to my pull value rating for Recoleta at a 3.5 out of 5. But wait, this video is coming out before the release of Maldir. We don't have the numbers yet, but based on what we know of Maldir's kit, I would expect Recoleta's rating to potentially end up being a 4 out of 5 pull value rating. But at the end of the day, Recoleta is just another DPS, and DPSs are easier to power creep, and the ones that provide nothing else but damage tend to be less valuable. Recoleta does provide extra Moxie to the teammates and causes them to ulti with her preparation incantation, so she does provide something else besides damage. The reason I am cautious of rating her too high is because there are so many damage options such as Nautica HP Lost Team, Impromptu, Dynamo, and some of these have just been introduced, so they have more potential to be even stronger than Recoleta, even with the release of Maldir. And finally, who I think should pull. I think if you already own Melania or plan on getting her on the Euphoria banner or the 2.7 selector, then Recoleta would be a great pickup for you. If you are an older player who has Lucy and the free Simois from 1.9, or you are going for Impromptu team, then you can probably just skip Recoleta and wait for 2.7 and 2.8 for those teams if you're concerned about damage. If you initially wanted to pull for Recoleta, but now you're worried that you might be power crept by these newer teams, then I suggest you wait until Maldir comes out in CN next week just to see how much of a buff she is to Recoleta before you pull her on global. So yeah, that's what I think of Recoleta. Hope you guys found this helpful. Let me know if you are pulling for Recoleta or saving for all the upcoming amazing patches and the AC collab. I will be streaming my Recoleta pulls and also my Lucy pulls over on CN tomorrow. Good luck if you are pulling. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.